In this video, we're going to be building a mobile app with Python. So this is the mobile app running on our desktop, and it's also run on Android device as well. So I have kind of mirror my Android device right here. You can see that the app is running, and it also have a light dark mode toggle. So we're going to be building this with Kivy, and let us jump into building. So we're going to start off by building a simple hello world app with Kivy, and then we can move further by building our main app. So to install Kivy, all you need to do is open up your terminal and then enter pip3 install Kivymd. So we're going to use Kivymd. So you click enter, and that is going to install Kivymd for you along with Kivy, of course, but I already have that installed. You can see it is going to install Kivy as well. So we're going to import from kivymd app. So we're going to import md app. So from kivymd.uyx.label import md label, like that. So class, I'm going to call that dyk app. So we're going to get to a reason why I'm going to call that dyk app after some. So build self, and we're gonna return an md label with the text equal hello world, and the h align. So we're going to say h align property. So that's the horizontal alignment, which is going to be center, like that. So we're going to then say app equal dyk app, and then we can say app.run. So we're going to run that. Okay, so let's save and run, and we should see hello world. Wow, you can see a hello world app with Kivy. Okay, now so we can move further by building our application. So this is going to be from kivy.ux.box layout import md box layout, and right here we should just get rid of this for now, and let's say class, and that's going to be main. So that's our main application, main layout, whatever. So md box layout, and we're going to pass for now. Okay, so we're going to return the main this time around. Okay, so let's run again, and it still works without any problem. Okay, so now we're going to create a kv file with the name of dyk. So whatever it is prefix before the app, right here before the app, we're going to, that's what we're going to, you're going to name your kv file. Of course you can name it whatever you want, only if you're going to import the kv builder, or yeah, if you're going to use the builder to load that file. But for this basics, we're going to be using this name. So in your path, you can just create a new folder, new file, dyk.kv, like that. So dyk matching dyk right here, so it should be in lowercase. So right here, we're going to say main. So inside of the main, we want to have the main, which is a md box layout. So md box layout is essentially a layout that arrange widget horizontally or vertically depending on the orientation you set for it, but by default it is horizontal, so you're going to change that. So we need vertical in this main. So orientation is going to be vertical, and then we want to have some padding inside of this layout, of padding of 10. Spacing for the widget should be 10, and I think that's all. So we need an md card, so that's a card. So that what we're doing here is we are adding a widget. So this md card is a widget that we are adding to the box layout, which is we are adding this widget to the layout. So the card should have a padding of 10. Okay, so it should have elevation, so we're elevating that card, elevation of 10. It should have a radius of 10. Okay, so then inside of the card we want to have an MD label. Okay, so the text should be the do you know, do you, then a new line, then you wanna write no. Okay, like that. So this card by default has a kind of layout, and the orientation is horizontal as well, so we're going to be changing that to vertical. So we're going to be changing that orientation to vertical. This one we're going to say H align, and we're going to set that to center. That's horizontal alignment, center. And we're going to say font style, so this font style should be header 1. Okay, so header 1 font style. There are different font style. You can check the KVMD documentation to see them. So text should be let's say fact here, H align, center as well, center. Then the font style of this one, let's call that body 1. So this one is also part of the fonts that are available. So I want to change the padding of the body to around 20. So the padding of the body should be 20. So let's actually run this and see. Wow, we have do you know and fact here. I think this one header 1 is too much. Let's use header 2 rather. So header 2, not header 1 anymore. So let's run again. Okay, so wow, okay, now it is looking beautiful and cool. We have some padding around inside of the layout, and inside of here as well I have some padding. We have radius right here, we have elevation, you can see some shadow behind it. Okay, so right here we're going to have another widget inside of the main, that's the box layout. We're going to have another box layout, MD box layout. So inside of it we're going to have an MD fill button. So I think MD fill round, I think that's it, fill flat button. Oh, the name is very long. Okay, so I'm just going to copy that, and we're going to paste that right here. So I'm going to first verify if the name is actually correct. Okay, so the name is not correct. Okay, so I think I got the name right. So the name is MD fill round flat button. Okay, so right here the text should be our, let's say, prev. So the previous is the first, then the next text should be our next, like that. So inside of the MD box layout, which the orientation is automatically or by default is horizontal, we're keeping it as its default, and we're adding 2 buttons. Okay, so we're going to come right here, and then we're going to run. You can see we have these 2 buttons, but the layout is actually taking up this much size, while our buttons are just kind of sitting right here. So we're going to kind of reduce that size hint of that box layout. So we're going to say size underscore hint is going to be a tuple 1 and then 0.08, like that. So we're going to be using that size, and we can also have spacing for the buttons, the items on the layout, which is 10. And I think that's all for customizing that. So you can see we have, okay, they are now looking cool. There is a spacing around here. Okay, so to separate these buttons, because we want this previous button should be on this side and the next should be on the other side. We're going to add a card, so I'm not going to add a separator, I'm going to add a card. So md card, like that. So the padding, I say padding, the radius of this card should be, so we don't want any radius from the top, we only want them from the bottom. So, and then we have elevation of 10 as well for this card. Okay, good and nice looking. Okay, you can see we have a card separator right here, we have next, we have previous. Okay, so what we can do is just start customizing this thing. Okay, so we can start coding from our main class. Okay, so initialize our function and then we're going to super dot init, like that. So super init, and we're going to say self dot fact underscore label equal. So right here we have this md label where it's fact here, so we're going to change, we're going to say id is going to be fact here. So you can see that I don't have any string, what is it called, that's quotes, so there's no any quotation right here, so just fact here, like that. So right here I'm going to say self dot fact label because self dot ids dot fact underscore here. So we are accessing the element with the id, or that widget with the id of fact here. So, and it's a label, so I'm just calling it fact label. And then we can say self dot fact label dot text equal, so let's add rubbish and let's actually on that. You can see we have the rubbish right here. Okay, so we can then actually import our fact data. So you can see I have here some fact here, so list, so it's essentially a list. So I'm storing it in a variable called facts. So I can say from facts underscore data import facts, so I'm importing that facts. Okay, so we can say just like the way we did in the PyQuery tutorial where we build this same app, that's exactly the same thing we're going to be doing here, the logic for navigating. So this one is going to be the navigator current index, let's say, so current index, and then we can say self dot facts underscore list equal facts. Okay, so right here we are going to be setting that text, or let's define a function called display text. So display underscore text is going to take self, and let's say self dot facts label dot text equals self dot facts list underscore list index of self dot current index. Okay, so right here I have a typing error, so self instead of cell. So let's then say self dot display text right here, so display the text. So we're calling that function on load. So you can see right here we have facts, grape light on fire in microwave, which is a fact, which is the fact number one, of course, in my facts list. So we can then actually create our navigators. So the next, and we're gonna pass for now. So we're going to then define the previous function self pass for now. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually then just create that logic. So if self the current index is less than the length of self dot fact list minus 1, so we want to increment our current index, so self the current index plus 1, we want to display the text like that. So the for the previous, we say if self the current index is not equals to minus length of self dot current index self dot fact list. So we want to self the current index minus equal 1. I want to say self the display text, so we're going to display the text like that. So we're going to connect this function to those buttons. So we're going to go back to our kv file, and in this button we're going to say on release. So when you release that button, when you press it and then you release it, you want to change the fact, right? So we want to for the previous, it is going to be root dot prev. So that's the prev method. So this root, which is the main class, and the prev, which is that function that we created, this method right here. So this for the next, it is going to be on release, it is going to be root dot next, like that. So let's check it out. So now let's click next, and we have uh, md label don't have attribute of length, so this one is not label, it's supposed to be fact list. Okay, so we click that, and next you can see, okay, we have next is working, previous is working fine, next is working fine. You can see that our fact is actually changing, right? So now I want to add a little trick to this thing. So we should have a dark mode or toggler, so you can toggle dark or light mode right here. So whenever you click this card, you should toggle to change the mode. So right here in our main, so I'm going to say app equal app mode, sorry, app mode. So app underscore mode is going to be equal none on the start, and we're going to define a function called toggle, and we're going to pass self. So we're going to say if app mode, if self dot app mode. So I want to say self dot theme cls dot theme style is going to be light, so that's light mode, and we're going to say self dot app mode equal false, so else. So when I say self dot theme cls dot theme style equal dark, I want to say self dot app mode equal true. So now we are going to connect this function to a the click of our card. So I'm going to say on release, it should be app dot toggle. So this time around it is app dot toggle, which is our main app, which is our md app, so the toggle function from our app. So now let's click the card, and you can see, wow, we're toggling this thing. So what if we want to save the dark mode toggling? We can easily do that by writing it to a file. So we're going to let's define a function called save mode and self. So we're going to with open, so we're going to create a file mode.txt. In a writing mode, let's say as w, and we're going to say w.write. So the text that should be there is going to be a text that is going to be fed to this function. So that's text, so you should write text. So whenever we toggle to light mode, we want to save that, so self.save mode, and the text should be light. And then whenever we toggle to dark mode, we're going to save the mode, and the text is going to be dark, like that. So we're going to then unload, that's we're going to try to self.themecls.theme style equal open, that's we're going to open that mode.txt, and then we're going to read just the first line, that's we're going to read line, and we're going to strip that to clear whatever space it might has, so that we don't need, except and we're going to say fast. So accept fast. So what we are trying to do is we're going to try to load this file. We're going to try to load the text that is there. Otherwise, if the file does not exist, that's we're going to get an error. We just want to pass. So right now it is going to return, it is going to be an error, but because we are handling that with the try and accept block, we just the app is not going to crash. So you can see now our app started in light mode, and when I click dark mode, you can see right here I have a file created which is mode.txt, and you can see the mode inside is dark. So now if I actually launch my app again, we should see dark mode. Okay, cool, right? So I think this thing is cool. When you kind of put it in light mode, you kind of launch the app again, it is still in light mode. Okay, so this is great. So we've actually finished the development process to this app. What is left now is just the deployment process, which we're going to do in a minute. So we're going to use buildozer to do that. So yeah, let us jump to doing that as well. So get into the deployment process for our application. All you need to do is enter it inside your project directory, and whatever you name your Kivy file where you have your main app, it should be named main. So the main app should be named main, right? So you should name it main.py. So you need to do this on a Linux computer, so you can only compile your application using a Linux computer. But if you have Google Colab, there are great videos on YouTube you can find on how you can do that using your Windows using Google Colab. But we're going to be using Linux, so I'm using Linux right now. So you're going to need to install pip and other dependencies as well along with buildozer. So you need to install pip, install buildozer like that. So you should click enter, and that should install buildozer for you. Okay, so then what next that are going to be installed are bunch of tools that you need to install. So I have the command in the description down below, so you should just copy and paste it on your terminal and it should install everything for you. So you need to install adb as well, so you're going to install adb with sudo apt install adb. Okay, so enter your password, and you can see I already have adb installed. So what we are going to be using this adb for is that we're going to use it to connect our mobile to our uh, computer. So in your mobile, of course, you need to enable USB debugging. So if I enter adb devices, so when you can only see your device when you've connected your mobile with your computer via your USB cable, and you also enable that's USB debugging. So I have a video on that actually, if you don't know how to do that. So then you can then enter buildozer init. So buildozer init. So when you have that, so you can see that a spec file is created right here. So buildozer spec file. So you're going to check out that spec file. We're going to actually customize it. So this is how we're going to specify the title for application. So we're going to call it let me call it that dyk. So I'm going to call my app dyk. So the package name, so I'm going to call that dyk app. Okay, so the domain, I'm just going to call that org.dyk. You can call it whatever you want. Okay, so in the package name, make sure you don't have any spacing. Okay, otherwise you get an error. But in the title, you can have as much spacing as you want, but in the package name, don't have any spacing, don't use any spacing. Okay, so you can specify your app version if you want, or so now what we're going to do in our requirements, you can actually find, so you can just enter your Kivy version if you want to specify a version. So I'm going to specify version 2.0.0. so you can actually check your Kivy version. So you can enter the Python interpreter show. I'm going to import Kivy as well as Kivymd. So you can just say Kivy double underscore version double underscore. You can see I'm using Kivy version 2.0.0, and I can check import KivyMD as well and check the version of that. So version, so this is the version for my KivyMD, which I'm going to actually copy. So I'm going to be back to the buildozer spec file, and I'm going to specify that. Okay, so KivyMD, that's KivyMD equal this version that I've copied. Okay, so you can just actually add pillow as well, because I think if you compile the app without using pillow as part of the requirement, it might not work. Okay, so because I've actually tried compiling this so many times and it has failed, but when I actually add pillow as one of the requirement, it works. Okay, so then this pre-splash, that's the what is going to be loaded when the app is loading. Okay, that's the image that is going to be loaded. So you can actually specify the path in your project directory. You can specify whatever you want, but I'm not going to be having any pre-splash right now. Okay, so the icon, actually you can also specify the path to the icon. Okay, so you can see it, orientation. Okay, you can add author right here. Okay, it's a simple thing. So I'm going to add my name. So I'm going to add Abdul Mumin again, like that. So you can see you can add permissions. So whatever permission your app need, so let's say an internet permission, like that, you can actually comment that out if you want internet permission, but we don't want that. Okay, so if you have everything set, you can then save. You can save, so you can save that and then quit. So you can quit this. Okay, so you can create the save, and you can then enter buildozer dash v android debug. So you're compiling it for Android, like that. So you need to make sure that you have your device connected with your computer via ADB. So you can say ADB devices, and you can see I have my device right here. Okay, so and then you can just hit enter, and this should start the compilation process for your app. It takes about 20 minutes, but because I have actually compiled this before, it is taking lesser time, right? So it is just, just doing everything again, right? So yeah, that's it for the compilation, and you can just wait until you see a really beautiful message telling you that your Android application is ready. Okay, so you can actually wait for that. Okay, right here you can see that this is the message I'm talking about. The sign color, it's a uh, color for yeah, success. So everything has worked successfully. You can see my Android packaging is done. APK, that's this is the package name, and that's the version, and this is the, I think, the Android API, whatever. Also, I don't even understand, but you can see APK is already there. You can actually get that in the bin, and you can find a way to get your APK into your mobile phone, and then you can install it. So you're going to do just that. So you need to get a way to find get your Android device to your mobile, and you can see I already have that, so I can just install that. You can see the app is installing. It's a valid APK file, so you can see installing app. Okay, you can see app install. You can just open that actually directly. You can do that. You can see this is this pre-splash for the APK, which is by default the Kivy pre-splash, right? So let's see our app. You can see, wow, we have our app, right? So you can click next, you can click previous, you can see that, you can toggle dark mode, you can, yeah, wow, the app is actually working fine. Okay, so let's click the app right now and see if it is going to be uh what we expect. So this is the DYK app. So you can launch it again to see if our app is going to actually load in dark mode, which means the dark mode toggling is saved, right? So you can see, wow, it's actually it's in dark mode, right? Wow, so the app is pretty cool, and you can actually share with your friends, to just showcase your experience with this thing. You can tell your friend how they feel about this. You can customize the app the way you want it to be. You can add more functionality, so you can actually check out the documentation to the KVMD to see how the great graphics you can actually create with it. So you can actually add that, or you create your own project with KVMD. Okay, so if you're stuck anywhere in building this application, you can actually leave a comment in the comment section down below. Okay, so thank you very much for watching. Catch you in the next one. Peace. But if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe to the channel, right? So if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, make sure you hit the subscribe button, and if you like the video, make sure you give the channel the video a thumbs up. So you should like the video. Okay, thank you very much.